r/malicious compliance. First story. Bank won't make change. I close my account instead. This happened a few years ago. I was working at a large national chain restaurant as a manager. I was asked to temporarily reassign to a location in a city about an hour away, and accepted. They put me up in a hotel, the whole 9 yards. The first weekend I was there, I discovered that the GM had screwed up and not ordered any change, small bills/rolls of coins, for the safe, and that the local branch of our bank would be closing in the next hour. I also happened to have a personal account at the same bank, and had, in the past, gone and gotten change from the branch back home. Since time was tight, I quickly looked up the address of the bank, grabbed $800 and jumped in my car. I get to the bank, wait in line, and then ask them to make change. $400 in $5 bills, $300 in $1 bills, and $100 in assorted rolled coins. The teller tells me that the bank doesn't make change. Me, thinking it was because they didn't know me, informed her that our restaurant had an account she could look up. She then told me, no, we don't make change at all. The thought going through my brain was, WTF. You are a bank. I tried explaining the situation, but was quickly shot down. I left, went back to my car, then had an idea. I went back inside the bank with my personal checkbook, got to the front of the line, and, luckily, the same teller. Before she could even greet me, I held out my checkbook and told her I would like to close this account, since this bank is no longer customer service oriented. She kind of rolled her eyes, but went about my request. Then she asked how I wanted my cash back, an automatic response, I'm sure, and one I was counting on. I said, $400 in $5, $300 in $1, $70 in rolled quarters, $25 in rolled dimes, $4 in rolled nickels, and $1 in rolled pennies. The rest can be on a cashier's check. No reason for her to deny it, so I got my change. And the following Monday, I returned, closed out the other 2 accounts I had there, and I opened accounts at a different bank, where I have been banking ever since. Edit. So, wow, never saw this exploding this much. I have only read a few comments, and won't be back online until tomorrow to read the rest, but let me clarify something from the comments I did read. I did not open or close any accounts for the business. I closed my personal account, and took the payout in small change to help the restaurant, then kept the larger bills for myself. In essence, I made myself into the bank. I made change for the restaurant. On Monday, I closed all of my personal accounts with this bank, and opened new accounts at a different bank, and deposited the $800 in large bills along with the money from my accounts. Also, this was 15 years ago, so banking at the time was not all done on a smartphone, and none of my bills were autopay. I still wrote checks. Edit 2. Thank you so much, kind strangers. My first gold ever. And I think it's only my second or third time getting silver. Don't honestly remember. Seriously didn't expect this to take off this way. Second story. Ex-girlfriend wants to cut off our electricity? No problem. Hey, please tell me if this isn't appropriate for the sub, and I'll post it elsewhere. I was living with my girlfriend and a roommate, and we split the cost of every bill evenly, even though each bill was in one person's name. Well, that was the idea, but I naively helped my girlfriend pay her part of the bills, that is paid completely for most of them. The rent was in my name, the electricity in my girlfriend's, etc. Well, I eventually got tired of her crap, arguments, smelly gerbils, not doing chores, and we broke up. It was messy. She took ages to move out, making sure to mooch every penny she could before leaving. When she left, I immediately started a new electricity account in my name. A week later, I got a letter of confirmation in the mail, but I also received the electricity bill for the last 3 months my ex was living with us. I opened it without thinking. We couldn't even pay it if we wanted to because the bill was in her name. I shot her a text. Me, yo, you got the electricity bill in the mail. It's $120 so come pick up $40 from each of us. X, where's the other $40? We agreed I wouldn't pay bills after I move out. As if she did before. Me, you were still living here for the time period of the bill. X, this is bullshit. I'm not going to pay a thing. We had an agreement. Me, well, you can come over to get our part, or you can pay it alone. X, the way I see it, you can either bring the $120 to my place, or have fun in the dark lol. Me, you got me there. At this point I realized that she doesn't know I started my own account with the electricity provider. She thought that by refusing to pay, the provider would cut our lights. Good way to mooch another $40 from us, right? But that's not quite what happened. A few weeks later, I received another letter from Elec company with her name on it. Probably a late payment warning. I sent her a text to tell her, and she responded, "Lol, why are you so desperate to talk to me? You know what you have to do." Another letter came in for her. This one was probably late fees. I have to guess, because I never opened them. I messaged her and she said, "I thought I told you to never talk to me again." As you wish, ma'am. More letters arrived, but from a new address. I googled the new sender's address and found that they were debt collectors. Scary stuff. It's too bad I couldn't say a word to her. Now about 2 or 3 months later, I received a phone call from my ex, and I'm greeted by what the fuck these people are calling my parents' house. I've got all these late fees bar debt collectors. I told her, if she wants our part of the bill, she knows what to do. Realizing that she had no other choice, she caved and came for the money. My roommate and I didn't give her a cent toward late fees, and I probably looked so fucking smug giving her my money for the last time. Edit. Lots of people are saying I shouldn't have given her a cent. As you/Shell Chang eloquently put it, not paying it would be a dick move. Way more satisfaction in letting someone else get screwed while you play by all the rules. Third story. I don't work here anymore. Hey, boss, got an opening? Worked for a medical transportation company that had a contract with Medicaid. One of their many rules was that you could not provide any assistance to the patient inside of their house. One elderly lady had an old house with a very small foyer that you had to climb 3 steps to get to the main floor. The only other entrance was around back and up 2.5 flights of rickety steps to an old deck that opened into a bedroom. Upstairs. She's in a wheelchair. Common sense says take her in the front door, up 3 stairs, and she's home on the level she lives on. Medicaid says take her up the outside stairs, dump her in the bedroom upstairs and let her worry about getting down to the living room level. We ignored their policy and took her in the front door anyway. A random inspection by a random inspector showed that we were not in compliance. We appealed. The inspector came out and saw the different options and decided that we had no case for appeal. Take her up the outside stairs. Nope. From then on, when the driver arrived at her house, he would get her out of the van in the sidewalk and then get on the radio and tell the boss to shove his stupid job. Now that he was no longer an employee, he was free to assist this lovely person into her front door and up the stairs. Once finished, they would come back to the van, tell the boss they'd reconsidered, and ask for their job back. Boss was always understanding and took them back, but very carefully noted the 10 to 15 minute break in their employment to show that the company remained in compliance. Aftermath, we had contests to see who could have the most dramatic I quit scene. Medicaid noted our activities, but couldn't put a handle on how to stop it. Malicious compliance achieved. Fourth story. The day I was hired and fired by a law firm. So this is about 5 years ago. I worked as a chef at a bakery. It was my job to make everything but the baked goods. Every morning the baker and I would walk in at about 4 AM and knock out all the food needed for the day. This would leave me ready to go home around 10 AM or so. This put us at the perfect time to deliver online orders. It was common for companies or other entities to place large catering orders with us. The baker and I would split them down the middle and deliver them on our way home. The delivery in question was for Bob, Dick, and Harry, attorneys at law. I have never delivered to BD&H before, but they were a regular of sorts. Every financial quarter, they would hold a huge meeting. This meeting would require roughly $700 of bagels and bagel accessories. This spread included 8 dozen bagels, all 10 of our flavors of cream cheese, pastries, brownies, and enough coffee to power a college dorm though finals week. My passenger seat, entire back seat, and entire trunk are filled with food. Now BD&H is located on the 9th floor of a commercial skyscraper deep in an industrial complex. Downtown parking was non-existent. There were meters outside the building, but I knew I would need close to 10 trips to deliver all this food and didn't have a lot of change on me. Company policy was to just pay whatever fines I needed to park and then turn in my receipts. The money would end up on my next paycheck. So the building has its own parking garage, so I pull on in. The security guard, let's call him Sam, stops me and says that the parking garage is for employees only. I happily show him my delivery invoice and offer him a bribery badge. Never leave the store without at least 2. Sam refuses the badge and says I can park in one of the guest spots on the bottom floor. The fee is $5 for every 30 minutes, minimum $10. I thank him and head to the bottom floor of the garage. So there are a total of 6 guest parking spaces. Just 6. All of them are taken. I head back up to talk to Sam when I see an open parking spot reserved for Bob, Dick and Harry, attorneys at law. There are cars in every spot, with many spots being reserved for employees by name. The last spot is empty and is reserved for guest of BD and H. Perfect. I pull on in. I grab the most important part of the delivery, the coffee, and head to the stairwell. I get into the elevator and hit the button for floor 9. The elevator asks for my employee ID card. Well, crud. So, I try the lobby. That works. From there it's 9 flights of stairs until I'm outside the law firm of Bob, Dick, and Harry. After introducing myself, I'm shown to the room where the meeting will take place. A table is set aside for me. I set down the coffee and head for trip number 2. That is when I see Sam talking to the receptionist. He runs over and starts shouting at me. I'm putting a boot on your ref ****ing car. I told you to park in guest on the bottom floor. I don't get a word in before he launches into a speech about security and how I could be hurting his building or people. That is when a very well dressed man walks over. It so happens to be Bob, the Bob of Bob, Dick and Harry's. Bob asks what is the problem and soon the 2 are arguing. Bob is delivering food for my meeting. He is allowed to use my parking spots. Sam, those parking spots belong to the building. You are leasing them like you lease this floor. I'm the one who says who can park there. He isn't an employee, so he isn't parking. Bob, then I'm making him an employee. Sam, you can't do that. Bob, you know what? You are right. Harry, get over here. Harry walks over with an amused look on his face. Bob, Harry here is the head of our department. Harry, hire this boy. Harry pulls out a piece of paper and scribbles. Op is now a member of Bob, Dick, and Harry's and signs it, then asks me to sign as well. I do so. Bob reaches over to the receptionist, who is already grabbing some things. Bob, here is your employee badge, your parking permit and your elevator key card. Now please, do the job I have hired you to do, and deliver my bagels. Sam looks on in utter fury as I ride the elevator down to my car. 7 sweet elevator rides later, all the food is delivered. Bob and Harry meet me at the table. Bob, you have made great strides in this company and I'm proud of your work, but I feel it is time for us to part ways. Here is your final check. Bob then hands me a crisp $50 bill. Harry, and your severance package. Now please be sure to return your badge and card on the way out. Harry hands me a $20 and sends me on my way. The receptionist is sure to validate the parking ticket that Sam gave me, and I head on out. On the way out, Sam grins at me and asks for my ticket. I place it in the machine in his station. It sees the validation I got and lets me out for free. Sam glares at me as I drive off into the late morning sun. TL, doctor, security guard said I didn't work here, so I can't park here. Client pretends to hire me to get around the rules. Never argue with lawyers.